John?
No, I worked for the Israeli Secret Service. I served the Israeli army. My father, for many years, served the Israeli army. My son is going to join the Israeli army this Thursday. You know, for 50 years, we control, today is about 2.5, 3 million Palestinians in the West Bank and Gaza. We try to tell ourselves that we're a democracy because, you know, in Israel, every few years, we have elections. The last few years, we had like 5 or 6 elections, which is too much. We have elections, we have parties, people go and vote. Basically, we have freedom of speech. Basically, we have the freedom to demonstrate, but 3 million people don't have. And 3 million people are under military control. And I asked myself, how can we be a democracy if at least 3 million people in this equation are not taking part of this game? And this is the main problem because, you know, you can assassinate as much as you want. I think that in the West Bank, Israel, the Israeli intelligence is very strong. Usually they are very successful in stopping terror attacks. If not talking about the Second Intifada, you know, we finished the Second Intifada in 2001, ended 2004 with over 1,400 Israelis that were murdered during the second uprising, the Second Intifada. So I asked myself, as a father, not as an ex-Shin Bet, not as a citizen in the state of Israel and someone that saw few things, even you know, in the more, we say, hidden parts of the history. I asked myself, what is our end game? Where do we want to take it to? What kind of future we give our children, you know? Because, yeah, we can fight. Israel is strong. Israel has a very strong army. I don't know, in the world. I don't know about it, but people say that Israel has the nuclear power. I don't know if we do or not, but this is what people say. We're very strong. So sometimes being strong is not a very good thing, you know? And it doesn't lead us to a very good future. And I really don't see right now where our leadership is taking us to. And by the way, I don't see where the Palestinian leadership is taking the Palestinians to, but this is their leadership. I'm talking about my leadership because I don't need to criticize others, while I do need to criticize my leadership. They take us to hell.
And I want to touch on 2 things that you said, because it's funny. You asked the question, rightfully so, right? In a proper democracy, 3 million people, if they're considered, and I mean, Israel's not a massive place by comparison to some countries, right? 3 million people. I think there's less. That's not even my state is Kansas, you know, and we get made fun of for having no people in the country, right? And it's big. I even want to push further because it's funny. We also in the US to a certain extent. And the mentality is a bit changing. However, there's, you know how proud Americans are of free speech, democracy. This is the thing. And ever so slightly, some people are starting to notice that potentially you're a part of it, but you're not really making any of the decisions at all. It's like, it's kind of limited to some people. We'll tell you that you get to talk about it. We'll tell you that you get to do this. And we're going to say it's a democracy, but the same people are kind of making the decisions, and you probably won't be in a position to do so. It's not truly like this ancient Greek democracy where we were just going to call up some people and we're going to change it out, and that's not happening. And so in the same sense, yeah, you have to ask yourself, well, what would happen if the open lines of communication could actually happen? But at the same time, it doesn't really matter if they've decided end game is revenge. And so if endgame is revenge, or if they haven't decided on an endgame, they just decided on the next best move, which is just fight back. If they hit me, we hit them, and then there's no need to communicate because there's no goal for anyone, and there's never going to be anything solved. I would love to, and I threw this question, I'm not sure who I did to last time. If you could project into the future, and I know it's just highly speculative, will there be any change? If there is there a moment of change? Do you see any change in the near future, or do you see anything that could possibly happen over the course of 50, 100 years that could turn this situation?
In the close future, there will be some dramatic change because the time of Abu Mazen, the leader of the Palestinians, will come to an end. He's not a young guy. He's not very healthy. And I guess that soon can be 5 years, 10 years. Of course, I hope he will live forever, but one day he will die. Nobody knows who will be his successor. And in the Palestinian Authority and among Palestinians in general, everybody understands that this will be a moment of change within the Palestinian Authority, because many people will come and try to get their share. It might bring lots of violence within the West Bank. I don't expect the next few years to be very stable. In the long run, it's very hard to say because, I see what's going on in Israel. Demographically, for example, Israel is becoming more and more religious. Liberals today becoming less and less powerful. We saw, the outcome of the last elections. Netanyahu and his new government is going to be a very, very conservative government. They want to change the legal system. They want to change the status quo between secular Jews and very Orthodox Jews. They might change the status of the homosexuals in Israel, that basically, homosexuals in Israel, they have freedom and they can do whatever they want. But this government is talking more and more about changing this situation. So for now, it seems that Israel is going to a very bad path. The leader of Israel right now, the chosen prime minister, is a corrupted guy, is a super corrupted guy. And of course, in order to get away with this corruption, because now, is going to court every few days and he might be sent to prison, he is willing to do whatever needed in order to escape from it and maybe even change the democratic system in Israel, which is the biggest fear right now among liberals in Israel. So we have a very negative process right now in Israel. But, these things can change. I remember how Rabin government announced that they speak with Palestinians, which was like, it seems like science fiction. And actually they brought Arafat and they signed the Oslo agreements, and most Israelis were very happy about it. Yes, there was, of course, opposition. Some people were opposing. Yigal Amir, this Israeli terrorist Jew, assassinated Rabin because of that. But at that time, things were very positive. So I think the change can happen, and it's only a matter of leadership. Once you have a leader like Sadat in Egypt, that few years after the 73 war came to the Israeli parliament, which was, for him as the most powerful leader in the Arab world, was humiliation to go to the Israeli parliament. He came to the Israeli parliament and he signed a peace agreement, historical peace agreement between Egypt and Israel. And since then, we have no war. Nobody get killed on the Israeli-Egyptian border. Let's talk about King Hussein that signed the peace agreement between Jordan and Israel. Okay. For many years, King Hussein was in very good relationship with the Israeli leaders, but he felt that he can now sign the peace agreement, and there is peace in Jordan. I'm not today, but I'm saying the last few months, I visited Jordan several times. I go there.
Right.
Yeah. I enjoy Amman, which is a wonderful city, and I say, wow. A piece of normality. We can go to Amman, which once was, they were our enemies, and I can go eat falafel in Amman, and everything is okay. So this is a matter of leadership. Somehow, the Western world lacks leaders. We see what's going on in the United States. We see what's going on in Europe. Some of the new leaders are less interested in democracy and less interested in doing the right thing. Which is a big problem. But I believe if you ask about our region, it's only a matter of time that we will have a leader or leaders that will lead this area to a better future, because there is no other solution. There's no other solution. It's crazy. We kill our kids from both sides. We kill our kids for nothing. Once, it's terrible to say. It's really terrible to say. But once I went somewhere in Israel and I saw like a piece of rock, stating that here someone was killed, or this is in a memorial place. This is in memory of this guy that was killed in this terror attack. And I asked myself, for what? And then what? Nothing happened. Nothing. Nothing.